The Culture Experience. The Culture Experience.
You're listening to The Culture Experience with Mel and Bruce. I'm Mel Tillar, your host. I am thrilled to be with you today. You are going to love today's guest. Her name is Alexis Hill, and she is the candidate for governor of the state of Nevada. Alexis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mel. I'm excited to be here.
I am thrilled to have you on board. You're running for the most important spot, the most important office in the state, an office that holds a lot of power. So let me start out by asking you this question. Why should we trust you?
A great question. Yes, the Nevada governor position does have a lot of power, and our current governor is completely underutilizing it, which is one of the reasons that Nevada is in so much trouble right now, and we're facing such difficult economic headwinds. If we had a governor who really wanted to put Nevadans first and protect us during this very difficult time, I think we wouldn't be in such a situation with the highest unemployment in the state. But I have been a county commissioner. This will be my second term as a county commissioner, and I've been working in local government for almost 2 decades. I have a real passion for serving our community. I love this state, and I have been watching this state, even as a child, underfund every essential service that we could possibly invest in. As a kid, I used to walk to school, and I didn't have a sidewalk on many parts of my walk. I'd be in the street or on the dirt, and that really pissed me off. And I asked my parents, what can I do about this? And they said, go to the city council. I went there, and they said, oh, you're so sweet, but they didn't do anything about it. And it made me realize government can make your life better, or it can make your life worse. And it really made me want to serve my community. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been constantly frustrated by the state. We have a legislature that meets every 2 years for 120 days. They don't get enough work done for the people. And we have a governor who is really bowing down to Trump, and while Trump is destroying our economy, and we need a governor who puts Nevadans first and really supports working people. I'm a mom, and I feel like when we need a governor who lives in the everyday, who understands how expensive childcare is, who really cares about our public schools, who just lives with everyday Nevadans and wants to make our lives better. That's what I'm all about.
You've mentioned Nevada first a couple of times. What does that look like under your administration?
I feel like we want to solve all of our economic woes as a state with how can we find a billionaire to come into, or trillionaire, when we're talking about Elon Musk, to come into our community and invest in our community and create new jobs. And it hasn't always worked for us going that route. We still find ourselves, again, with the worst economy in the United States, and we should really be investing in our people. It's so cynical to think that we can just bring in a billionaire and they're going to invest in all of us, when we really could be supporting our childcare system, our K through 12 education, public education system, our university systems, our adult education, to really get Nevadans on a better track, to ensure that we have a workforce that companies from all over the world will want to invest in, to ensure that we invest in our local economy, that we are investing in our small businesses. When we invest in ourselves, we thrive. And the reason that Nevada is always on the precipice of a major economic downturn is because we do not have enough state general funds to really invest in our basic services. When we do that, then our economy is so much more balanced and can survive these dips and turns. And we can still be a low tax state. I'm not suggesting that we do an income tax. I want us, or tax the working Nevadan. We already pay enough. I want us to tax the billionaires and the corporations who are not paying their fair share to be in this state.
You just released an economic development plan. In that economic development plan, you talk about modernizing the state revenue. What does that mean?
That means that Nevada hasn't done a major tax overhaul since I was a kid. And typically what we like to do is make changes on the current income streams. So you and I pay some of the highest gas taxes in the United States. We pay some of the highest vehicle registration in the United States, and we pay some of the highest sales tax in the United States. So all of the taxes, when the legislature is looking at trying to fill a hole, they tax you and me. And I'm talking about taxing the difficult things. I'm talking about taxing real wealth that is in our state who are not paying their fair share. These are the corporations and the billionaires. And these are loopholes that they have been able to get away with because we have refused to do a major modernization. I'll just give you two quick examples. We know that corporate ownership of homes is a huge problem in this state.
Yes.
We've seen some policies where politicians are saying, we want to restrict the number of homes that you can buy. Well, that's certainly a fine policy, but it's too late. We already know that a quarter to half of the homes in Clark County are corporately owned. So we can't turn back that dial. Excuse me. We can instead look at taxing these folks properly. They're only paying 9% more as a business every year. We should look at a higher tax rate for corporate ownership of homes. Or you see those Amazon vehicles driving around in your neighborhood delivering goods. They're EVs. It's not because Jeff Bezos loves the environment. It's because he doesn't want to pay gas tax. And we don't tax EVs in this state. So I'm also asking to tax for corporate EVs. I think there are a lot of ways that we can fill the hole and invest in Nevadans and actually come out in the positive.
About small businesses. We know that we take care of the billionaires, we take care of big business here in Nevada like nobody's business. What are you planning on doing to help the small business guy?
My philosophy is let's start treating small businesses like we treat big business in this state. Small businesses are the largest employer in Nevada. And small businesses, because of tariffs, immigration policies, because of the tourism industry that is suffering in our state, they are suffering worse than any other industry right now in Nevada. Talk to a small business and they'll tell you that they need help, especially because the Trump administration is pulling back those small business administration loans that have been essential to small business, especially if you're an immigrant small business or owned small business. So what we need to do in the state of Nevada is invest in our small businesses. I want to invest in them with the infrastructure bank. I want to see how small businesses can take on small emergency loans from the state. I also want to make sure that our small businesses don't have to pay personnel tax. We're going to put a short-term stoppage of the personnel tax if small businesses are hiring Nevadans and keeping Nevadans hired. Why are we punishing them, especially when automation is such a threat in this state? I also want to see how we can support our small businesses with, if they own the property that their small business is being run on, that we look at an offset of property tax for our small businesses during this emergency. On day one as governor, I will be enacting a small business emergency so I can pull any measures executively that I can do legally, and then I'll work with the legislature to make sure that we have a better small business climate for our community members.
There's a word that's being used a lot: affordability, affordability, affordability. I was talking to my mother the other day, and she says, yes, we go to the grocery store, buy $100 worth of groceries, get in the car and put it in the glove compartment.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about affordability?
I think that we need to have that discussion with everyone running for office and ask them specifically what they're going to do, because the governor can't necessarily set prices in the grocery store, but we can make your life affordable in other ways. So, for example, I want to support folks who are caregivers in this state. If you are taking care of a senior parent, or if you are taking care of a child who is disabled, I want to make sure that the state reimburses you with the Medicaid reimbursement rate that you would be getting if you were getting outside care. I want to support our working families and keep families together. I want to make sure that it's easier for you to get to work. I want to invest in public transportation. And the only way we do that is we actually fund it. I want to support housing. I want to cap rents temporarily. I'll be issuing an emergency on affordable housing so we can cap rents temporarily. And then we'll look at a long-term fix with the legislature, somewhat similar to what you see on your home taxes that are capped at 3% every year. We'll look at something similar for rent. I want to see how we can support you with childcare. I'm going to be tasking the legislature to look into what the cost would be for universal childcare and how we can implement that as a state. These are things that the governor can support and work on today and really make people's lives better. And while we're doing it, we're going to get new jobs online. So we're going to make sure that we're investing in the private industry and our small businesses and ensuring that we are creating jobs for young adults who are leaving school and not knowing what they're to do with themselves with the Nevada Works program to improve our public buildings and our public facilities. And we're going to work to make sure that we are educating Nevadans for the jobs of the future, both with our K through 12 programs and our university programs.
Governor Hill would be a Democratic governor. We know that many Democratic states are being attacked. Yes, I said attack. Mm-hmm. How would you protect Nevadans from our national government?
Well, I would argue that our governor, although he goes back and forth about this, whatever audience he's talking to or whatever statement is convenient, he is not protecting Nevadans today. So Nevadans are being disappeared from our state today with the immigration policies and the memo of understanding that our governor has signed with the president to support the 287G and making it so our local sheriff and police can enforce immigration policies, making our communities more unsafe. And I would argue that these policies that our governor has embraced with Trump has made our economy worse. Internationally, people are not wanting to travel to our state. They are either scared or they're protesting us. We need a governor who says, if you're coming to the state of Nevada, you will be protected here and we welcome you. We need to be doing campaigns saying, welcome to the state of Nevada. You are in the right place. You're going to have fun here. And we're not going to allow this reign of terror that's happening on the federal level to happen to you. It's already happening here, even if it is quietly. We need to push back and we need to fight Trump. And the way that we fight him also is making sure that the folks who are supporting him, the very wealthy, these corporate interests, are paying their fair share while Nevadans thrive. So I think it's a dangerous thought to think that we are being protected under Joe Lombardo, because he even said yesterday in his interview with John Ralston, I don't control Trump. I can't tell him what to do. Exactly. And you haven't been.
Very well said. Listen, a lot of people like you. A lot of people say you have some great ideas, but you're underfunded. And you're fighting a guy who has great, not good, but great name recognition. How is Alexis going to win?
I love this question. So I want folks to remember we're looking at two elections. We're looking at a primary election, and then we're looking at a general election. First off is the primary election. You're right. I'm running against a sitting AG who has an 80% name recognition in the state. I'm building up my name recognition, but I'm not at that level, but we're working on it every day, talking to voters, reaching out to them, meeting them where they're at. And it will be something that I'll be doing until the primary. But when we poll Democratic primary voters and ask them, who would you vote for today? Only 48% said they wanted to vote for my opponent. That means there's not a lot of excitement for this Democratic opponent, and that he has very similar economic policies to our current sitting governor. So if it's the two of them in the general election, are people really wanting to change and vote for someone else? Or are they going to want to change and go for a change candidate who is actually fighting for Nevadans, who has policies that can make our lives better on day one, who is running the second largest county in our state and knows the issues on the ground every day? I think we need to build a movement, because the Democratic candidate in the general election will never have as much money as Joe Lombardo, because he has the Miriam Adelsons of the world that will spend $25 million in a PAC. We actually need a candidate who's going to build a movement, who's going to get people excited, and who is going to ensure that, and that's really the only way that we can win. The last time we had a really great general election is when we had a very competitive Democratic primary between Chris G. and Steve Sisolak. And I think that that is what motivates the base. That's what gets Democrats excited. And we need Democrats and nonpartisans and disaffected Republicans to want to show up and get excited about a candidate, and I'm that candidate.
You say that you know the issues on the ground. I know that you're campaigning hard. You are talking to a lot of people. So what are the three concerns that you're hearing most about?
The number one concern is healthcare. People are really dissatisfied with the healthcare in Nevada. My mom has Parkinson's. We're going out to specialty care at UC Davis once a month for her. I know that this is something that many families face, and many families don't even have the privilege to go and travel for care. So we need to make sure that Nevadans have access to specialists and have access to better primary care even, and increase that Medicaid reimbursement rate. The next issue is housing. So many Nevadans are having trouble. I spoke to a senior who told me that he is spending the majority of his Social Security on his housing. So he has very little at the end of the month for groceries, for just essentials. And if he gets sick, he doesn't know what will happen to him. So we need to make sure that we're capping rents and supporting our most vulnerable people. And the third thing is education. People want a better K through 12 education system. They want a K through 12 education system that is better than 48 in the country, which is what we are right now. We need a governor who wants to invest in the future of Nevada.
So talk to me a little bit about this educational system. Black and brown parents, black and brown children are concerned about the school to prison pipeline, are concerned that many black and brown children are expelled and suspended at a much higher rate. How would you impact that?
I think that they have a reason to be concerned, because we're seeing the actual statistics bear out in the state of how unequal it is for black and brown students. And so one of my priorities is making sure that we have more diverse teachers in the classroom that actually represent our communities, making sure that we have the future of Nevada that is represented in these classrooms. And how do we do that? We invest in their education. And if you decide to be a teacher in Nevada, you don't have to pay back your student loans. If you stay here for 10 years, then the state of Nevada will pick up that tab, because we want great educators who want to stay here, and we want to make sure you have a great career as a teacher. We also need to make sure that we have more support for teachers in the classroom. It's a lot of these teachers, a kindergarten teacher, 40 kids in her class. How are you supposed to teach? And she has no teacher aide. That is in Clark County School District. That is happening right now in our schools. So as you can imagine, if you don't have the support, you just want to get kids out of the classroom. There's no patience on how to support alternative learners. And as we all know, we all learn differently. I am dyslexic. I think it's something that's pretty common, learning disabilities with kids. We need to make sure that we meet kids where they're at and support them with their learning needs. And the only way to do that is with proper resources. I think that there's also a way that we can make sure that we're supporting our teachers on continuing education, as well as our special needs kids. And right now, if you're put in a special needs class, I've been told by many advocates, these parents don't believe that their kids are being taught. So they are pulling them out of the school district. So we get less per pupil funding, and they're doing homeschool or online school, which is not doing any favors for these kids. So there's some work to be done, but it really comes to investment and also careful recruitment and making sure that the teachers that we have in our classroom represent the population of Nevada.
Kitchen table issues are always big. Kitchen table issues just worry people to death. One of the things that worry a lot of young people, young parents, is childcare. What do you propose to do about helping those people with their childcare?
I get it, because when I had my daughter, I was on every waiting list in town, and I couldn't obtain childcare. So it actually is a problem. They call Nevada a childcare desert, not just because of where we are located. It's actually because we also have some of the highest childcare costs in the country. I want to see how we can even the playing field. I want to see how we can have universal childcare in Nevada. We just have to pay for it. That is going to be the key, is how do we pay for our working families to be successful in this state? And we have to invest in childcare. We already do it for our foster families in Nevada. If you have a foster child, the state will pick up the bill on childcare. So it's something that we can expand on. And then guess what? You're creating great paying jobs, because you're also helping moms who want to have childcare in their communities. And so moms can, or working dads can open up childcare in their own homes. Also, Governor Lombardo vetoed a bill that would allow for childcare facilities in HOAs. I would certainly allow for that bill to proceed in the next legislative session to ensure that there's more access to smaller childcare facilities throughout our state.
Some people like what they're hearing from you and they'd like to get in touch with you. How do they contact you?
You can find me online at Alexis for Nevada, at my website, alexisfornevada.com, or on any of the social media sites except for X. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk.
I like that. Listen, I want to thank you for joining the show, and I want to leave the last word with you.
Oh, Mel, thank you for having me. This was a joy, and I hope that people will want to meet me. Please contact the campaign. We are creating a movement and really working to make Nevadans' lives better. Put Nevadans first. This is not about me. This is about you and about the future of our state. We must do something. We must fight for change, and I'm your candidate. Thank you.
Her name is Alexis Hill, and she's a candidate for governor of the state of Nevada, and you've heard it here on the Culture Experience with Mel and Bruce. I'm Mel Tillar, your host, and until next time, remember, celebrate the culture.
The Culture Experience.